As a future educator, I'm going to value the importance of my students' intellectual growth and emotional growth as well. By being an English teacher, I'm going to be able to explore this through reading and writing. As a teacher, I'm going to learn more about my students than just the persona that they have in the classroom. But I will be learning about their hobbies, interests, activities, and their passions for whatever it is they love outside of school. The aspect of being an English teacher is that through reading and writing, I will be able to get to know my students on a professional level that no other teacher in any other subject areas can. I've never had a deep connection with a teacher in math or science because in English, you get to express yourself through reading and writing. So my first priority is getting to know my students and understanding who they are in this time where things are changing for them. They're discovering who they are, what they believe in, who their friends are, and what they stand for. English is a great tool in teaching my students how to become critical thinkers, and this way, by becoming critical thinkers, they'll become confident young adults who are ready to enter college or whatever path that they choose. Another one of my goals is to have my students become critical thinkers. One way I'm going to implement this is having an atmosphere in my classroom that is very open and comfortable. By doing this, I'm going to have discussions with literature and writing, and by having an open atmosphere with students who are comfortable with raising their hands, asking questions, sharing their opinions, this is going to create a community in the classroom where students get to listen to their peers' opinions, challenge them in a non-threatening way, and then also think about their own values and opinions and what they believe in. By doing this, they're validating their opinions, they're becoming stronger in their beliefs, and they get to learn about other students' ideas. This helps with critical thinking because there's nothing in life that is dead set and concrete. So when my students get to college, they're going to meet people that are different than them, that have come from another background or who believe in completely opposite things than they do. And by being able to be a critical thinker, they're going to be able to accept these differences and still stick to their own beliefs. Another thing with reading is a lot of students just read and then accept what it is, whatever they've read. But with critical thinking, students challenge what the author wrote. They challenge the themes. They challenge the outcome. And with creative writing, they're able to see things in different perspectives, whether it be a poem. One student might read a poem about a red dress simply as a red dress that this woman wants. However, another student might be looking for clues and challenging himself to find the deeper meaning and context and theme, such as the woman's red dress is actually a lifestyle that she wants. Critical thinking isn't just useful in the classroom, but it's going to help them even past college. Critical thinking is just skills, thinking on their feet, making quick decisions. All of these things can be found with discussing literature, looking at texts, articles, and with English, it's so important because my students are really going to be able to understand who they are and know what they stand for. The most important aspect of this is in high school, students are having issues with their identity and self-esteem. And by learning about their own beliefs and identities through literature, they're going to become stronger people and they're going to be able to go out in the world with confidence and have the tools to become the best that they can be. With writing, I not only want my students to become better at it, but I also want them to enjoy it and appreciate language more. One way I'm going to be implementing this is through the idea of an open prompt. With prompts that teachers give out to the entire class, they're usually very general, broad, vague, and sometimes even contained so that students don't feel passionately about what they're writing about. They're just going to be writing in response to what I want them to write about. So if I give my students the option of creating their own prompt in which I would check before they write the paper, it gives them ownership. And another thing with this is they might be writing about something that they really cared about while reading the novel, whether it be a main character or a theme, imagery, or the central conflict in which my student felt very close to. And through writing and researching, they're going to write a better paper because they're really going to care about it and feel passionately for it. So by keeping an open prompt, I want my students to enjoy writing. I've always been an avid reader and would just dive into books and read them all the time, but I never understood or appreciated the connection with writing. And my problem with writing, ever since I can remember, was that it was always the same thing. It was always read a book and then find a theme or research a certain topic and then write about it in the 5-paragraph essays. By doing that, I really felt that I didn't have room for creativity. I didn't have room where I could showcase my talents, so I didn't appreciate writing papers. It wasn't until college, where I took creative writing classes, that I understood how important language is as a tool. And if crafted the right way, it can make all of the difference. And by knowing that now, I want to instill that in my classroom so my students realize that writing is not just for writing papers, but they will use it for the rest of their lives, whether it be college or college entrance exams and future career, but just simple things like writing emails, being professional. All of these things use writing, and to be proficient in writing is so important because it'll get them farther. Like I mentioned before, I love to read, and I understand that not all students do, but it really helps to have a teacher who can push the student in the right direction and find either the book by genre or author that they really come to enjoy. Reading is important for many aspects. It develops critical thinking skills, and it just helps the student become more well-rounded. I understand that in classrooms, when students are reading maybe Shakespeare or Chaucer, they don't find any connection or resonance with these books. And a lot of the time, they're thinking to themselves, why should I care? This was written hundreds of years ago. I used to be that student, and it wasn't until I had a teacher that taught me how to make text-to-self connections that I started to appreciate all types of literature from Shakespeare until now. By teaching my students this skill, it'll hopefully become something that they do naturally. So when they're picking up a book, instead of just reading for plot, they're trying to identify with the character. They're trying to think about what point of view the author is trying to portray. And they're also going to be looking for literary devices such as language and imagery and just what it is that makes this book so successful and how can they relate to it. By helping my students find books that they enjoy to read and help them become deeper readers, I hope to instill in them a love of reading that I have. And whether it be just reading for school or if they do read at home for pleasure, I want them to become the best readers they can be and being able to compare and contrast with other things they've read, so that way they become more well-rounded, and it also will help their writing. Out of all the topics I just talked about for what I'm going to focus primarily on as a teacher, I just want to showcase that how much I want to be a teacher. I understand that being a teacher is challenging, and with every day there's going to be things I'm going to be learning and tweaking to become a better teacher, but I am here to help my students. I want them to grow not only intellectually but emotionally as well. So when they leave high school, they're prepared for college and beyond. They're critical thinkers, they're deep readers, and they're more proficient writers. English is one of the most amazing subjects to me because not only are students learning how to do these tasks, but they're also learning about themselves in who they are, and they're becoming firm in their beliefs and their identity. I want to be the very best teacher I can be by combining my love of reading, writing, and passion for English. I'm going to be doing this also by keeping up with technology, with having my curriculum be fresh and engaging to the students so that every day when they come in my classroom, whether we're learning about the most exciting topic or something that they've already learned before or may not enjoy, I want it to be different than just an everyday lecture. So my students also, they learn, but they get excited about what they're learning. So that way it lasts for the rest of their life, their appreciation for reading and writing, and it helps them in the future for wherever that may lead.